Welcome back to another reading and correcting of Stepping Up by me, Kindar, the Tiger Writes, and Ty, the Tiger Supervisor. Today we are doing chapter 93. We're lost, Chico said, looking around the hallway. You can get us back to the entrance, can't you? Serena asked. Yes. Then then we aren't lost. Here. We are here. Not. Well, then we're not lost, she replied smugly. Except I have no idea where we're going. He pointed at the dead end before them. Now that should keep going. Help me out, Tibs? Help me out here, Tibs, the fighter said. Tibs stared at his friends. What did Jackal want him to say or do? It wasn't like he could force stone to remove the wall. Walking through the third floor had turned into a series of rooms with fights, finding caches and halls where you had to figure out what trigger was a trap, was a decoy, or change what passageway in an intersection would be open to them, or, as it turned out, would be open entirely. And because there were not, oh, and because, and because halls, and because there were not always, that's not really working. And because going from a hall to a room didn't always come visual cues. Tibs had been caught a few times when Noel dropped on them while he looked for triggers. He had thought that avoiding every trigger would lead to the floor remaining open, as well as ensuring they weren't caught by the traps. But it was now clear Genny had outsmarted him on this. This floor would be about working out the sequence of triggers that opened the hall to where they could go. Smiled at the scope of the puzzle Genny had given him to solve. At least, Miss says, all this walking means we'll have more fights. Well, the real loot's at the end of the floor. Loot's at the end of the floor. Jekyll pointed to the closed-off passage. That is not the end, Gumdar said. The cleric stood away from Tibs. While Tibs' refusal to let the cleric tell him the secrets about himself he'd uncovered that had helped heal the rift Tibs' weaponized use of the truth had caused, he remained cautious each time they were together since. Wow. While Tibs' refusal to let the cleric tell him the secret about himself he'd uncovered had helped heal the rift Tibs' weaponized use of the truth had caused, he remained cautious each time they were together. Still, Karina called, then looked at Tibs, and had Jackal and Mez stare at her. I'm here, Stowe answered, and Tibs nodded. I know what I want. Oh, good, Stowe replied, giddy, making Tibs chuckle. What is it? He nodded to her to continue. You're doing this now? Jekyll asked, as if he was affronted at this level of loot that this level of loot was requested before they breached the boss room. I want Wizard's robe, she said, pointedly ignoring the fighter. The same blue-gray as these. Actually, I'd like it to look exactly like what I'm wearing, down to how it's scuffed in places. It needs to be armored. I don't expect it to resist everything that's around me, but I'm tired of getting hurt anytime something gets close enough to hit me. But one thing I really need to have is hidden reserves like you did for Tibbs's bracer, but for every element, not just a few of them. Must you not be higher in rank before being taught how to extract essence from object? Commodore asked. Yes, but if there's one thing Tibbs showed me is that I'm not gaining anything by waiting for the guild to teach me. He smiled. They're holding me back. So that roll, especially with that enchantment that keeps everyone from knowing it has essence through it, is exactly what I need to start figuring things out on my own. The guild's going to be pissed when they find out, Jekyll said. She snorted. They aren't going to find out. Anything else? Tibbs asked. She shook her head. I can do that, Snow replied. I'll have it at your next run. Next run, Tibbs told her, and she beamed. Well, Jekyll said with reluctance, since you've got this started, I'll go next. I want a pouch, like the one you gave Tibbs after Walter died. The one that no one can tell what's in it, he added. But I also want it to be like those chests that are larger inside than out, and the stuff I put in the pouch won't weigh anything. Jekyll smiled proudly. No, Tibbs replied, cutting off Stowe. Dungeon can't make that? Jekyll asked, confused. You're just going to use that to hide all the loot we find. The fighter grins was enough of an answer. The guild's going to know you're scamming them, Tibbs' spot snapped, fighting to keep the anger in check. We always come up with loot. There's a first time for everything, Jekyll stated, still smiling, still grinning. What about the second, third, and all the following ones? Tibbs asked. You're not going to be able to stop with just one, Jekyll. Exactly. I will. Exactly, Tibbs exclaimed. I will, Jekyll said smugly. Look, I'm going to do it once, then I'll just hide one or two things from each run, I swear. Stowe, Tarina said, don't make it so the item's weight is removed. Tarina, Jekyll exclaimed, offended, that's my reward. And your greed is going to get us thrown in a cell and get Tibbs in even worse trouble. How are you going to explain this when the guild finds the pouch and all it's going to have in it? You think they're going to stop with you? Still, how many people have items no one can detect even when touching them? One, the dungeon answered. Just me, Tibbs said. But they can't tell he has it, Jekyll insisted. Until they cut them open and find the gems. They aren't going to miss anything we're wearing after they find your ordinary pouch filled with more items than the shipping crate can hold. They're going to find out about my robes and whatever Mez and Commodore ask for, and I don't think I'll ask for anything, as interrupted. She nodded. Even if it's just the three of us, that's going to be suspicious. You think they're going to believe it's just random we have such perfect item, or that it's just us? They're going to look at every runner, and when they confirm it's just us, they're going to want to know how we manage it. Someone with mine as an element will be questioning us at some point, questioning Tibbs. Jekyll looked at Tibbs, and his expression finally showed worried. His shoulders slumped. Okay, the stuff can weigh what it normally does. You're strong, Tibbs pointed out. You'll be able to carry a lot, but not everything, Jekyll said dejectedly and forced a smile. Which is for the best. It's not like I'll be able to sell everything anyway. I will not ask for a reward, Commodore said. The staff and the robe have been enough of a boon, and if it were to change, that will draw attention to us as well. He took a breath. Jekyll, unless you object, I would like to speak with Tibbs in private. Tibbs nodded when Jekyll checked with him, then followed the cleric back the way they came until they were at the site of the previous fight. Not that any sign of it remained. Commodore turned to face him, looking uncomfortable. Tibbs was surprised. He usually maintained a detached attitude to what happened around him that gave the impression nothing unsettled him. I understand. You told me not. I do not need to tell you this, Tibbs. And then I was relieved at the prospect of being able to keep this to myself. But I have observed how I behave, how I think, and now I believe that you were wrong in letting me keep this secret. I told you not to pry into ours. I can't then tell you to tell me yours. Tibbs kept the tight hold on his curiosity. And that is a danger of good intention. So here I will remove the guilt from your shoulders because I need to say this, so I will be kept from believing the story I have been telling others. Took a few breaths, the essence gathered around them. The darkness didn't affect the light, but the sound of the team muffled by the distance. Oh, there's this. The sound of the team muffled by the distance became another one that I flip a lot. Became even more difficult to make out. But when Kamdar spoke, his voice shook. As you have worked out, I wear the patronym of temerity not because I wish to appropriate it, but because I am of that family. A family of purity clerics, Tibs said with a nod, of fighters. Kamdar said. The temerity family has the strongest fighters in purity. They are proud, they are strong. They are, he said with disdain, unbendable. No temerity shall ever be something other than a warrior. He leaned against the wall, resting his head. I have the pride of my family, the will. What I lack is the physical strength. I am told I nearly died on birth. My father refused to allow the cleric to heal me. What good was a son of his if he could win such a fight without help? Closed his eyes. Thinking back on it, I am surprised at how little being told about the story of my birth hurt. In particular, it was the understanding. No, it was trusting that my father had been right. That initial fight could do nothing but make me stronger. Another part was that by the time I was told, I had grown used to ridicule. My brothers and sisters and other relatives, including my father, were not kind with their words each time I tried and failed to lift a sword or halberd. Stone grew hard. What proved too much, what finally put me on the path to despise him and my family, to turn my back on them, is the pride when he told me how he never let my cries, my pain waver, when he never let, is his pride when he told me how he never let my cries, my pain, make him waver from the path of purity. He paused and took a breath. I told you of how I sought the darkness because I was drawn to it. I have told that lie so often, I have grown to believe it. Darkness was not the first element I considered. Corruption is what I wanted. If purity hated me so much, I would ally myself with its antithesis. But hard work is ingrained in me. It included researching what I intended to do. What I've discovered of the people following corruption sickened. It may be a core element, but the people representing it do not make following it seem appealing. He looked at it and smiled. Most of them. There's almost pointed out he didn't follow corruption, but he didn't want to interrupt the clerics. I do not know why darkness allowed me to have it, let alone allowed me to return. I approached it filled with deceit, with the belief I could outmatch it. He smiled. I suppose that is as good an introduction as darkness can ask for. Having no other to ask, I did not know what darkness had made me until much later. I was not a fighter, I knew that. I was also not a sorcerer, but while never skilled, I had learned the bow, and deceit is the realm of the rogue. I found out when I encountered a group of adventurers whose fighter had darkness at their element. I could not keep my connection a secret from her, but she kept my secret from others. I suspect I know why. She was special to you, to each other, he stated, and Kamdar's surprised expression nearly made him roll his eyes. He'd noted nearly made his eyes. He'd noticed that when it involved their special person, people often made up the not best choice. She did not understand what I was any more than I did. I do not believe she would have been able to justify keeping the existence of a cleric outside of purity a secret from the guild. I lived under the pretense of being a rogue then, but my interaction with her, watching how she interacted with her essence and how she viewed darkness, showed me I was not like her. I also knew enough of clerics through those living around my family to recognize in part how I was connected to darkness. He sighed. Knowing what I do now, I regret not choosing the other option. That shadow you picked would have let me show my family's hypocrisy, show purity. I would have been able to make them regret not acknowledging the hard work I put into wanting to be its fighter. But purity wants people to work hard, you've said. That's the core of what it is. Kevlar nodded. But its people are not the element. They say hard work is good, but most only include the type of hard work leading to the outcome they want when they say that. Or only include that hard work done by the people they approve of. After all, I know of no one in that city who will congratulate a thief who worked hard and breaks through the security of their house to rob them. When confronted with their hypocrisy, they fall back on the mantra of purity demands it. Purity does not care what one does in its name. Neither does darkness. I don't think any do, they've said. They don't think like us. They don't see consequences, just what they are. You saw how I was when I channeled light. All I cared about was exposing the truth without care for what all I wanted was was to expose the truth without care for what happened after. They don't have to deal with what happens after. The clerk nodded. I crafted the story of how my affinity to darkness is what led me seeking it out. I crafted the story of how my affinity to darkness led to me seeking it out, and there may be truth to it after all. But the lie exists, so I would not have to confront the pain that set me on the path that led to it. Okay? But I don't get why they acted that way. They acted like that. He crosses on over his chest. Oops. Tibs crosses over his chest. You're a good fighter. I mean, you're not Jackal good, but your skill, you've killed your share of ratling, bunnylings, and gnolls. If you could do something like that then, why didn't your family let you? Gondor shrugged. I will not attempt to explain their behavior. I have spent the years I lived among them, trying, hoping that in that explanation I would find the way to make them accept me, acknowledge me. They are flawed, as we are all. As are we all. I have accepted that, and it is enough for me. Why don't you want the others to know? Kamdar thought about it. In part, because I enjoy having my secrets. But Tirina would enjoy having been right about me too much. I am content letting her believe that it is mere coincidence. I share the name of that family. I am telling you because you reminded me that I too am flawed, and in that reminder expose that I am as proud as my family, and that pride I will not allow to control me. Thanks for telling me. Tibs hugged the cleric, who stiffened before hugging him back. Tibs pulled away. We should head back to the others before Jackal loses patience and finds another way to the other finds another way. Yeah. Finds a way to the other fights without us. Gondor smiled. Our esteemed leader does enjoy his fights. And it's our job to make sure he's able to go back to Crowset after the run. And that concludes chapter 93 of Stepping Up. If you are enjoying this, please hit the like button. If you want to know when the next one is going to be, subscribe and hit the bell. If you want to read the story, it is available for free on Royal Road. If you want to support me and read, I think I'm up to about 9 chapters ahead on my Patreon. Yeah, you can do that on my Patreon. And if you want to listen to me do these live, it's every Tuesday morning, 8 a.m. Eastern Time on Twitch. The links are in the notes. And with that, I shall wish you a good day.